Perfect.
Is
Alrighty.
Tala online? She's
Yes.
online.
Tala
Hello,
is here.
but we cannot see you. I think Abdulrahman, maybe you should unmute her.
Okay. Hey, Tala.
Hello.
Hi. Tala. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. Hi, Jamal. Hi, Rebecca.
Hello. All right.
Hi,
So I'm just going to introduce everyone first. Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining today's virtual CV workshop. I'm Rebecca Vghali. I'm also part of the talent acquisition team here at L'Oreal. I'm a talent acquisition officer, and my main focus is mostly the graduate trainee program and entry-level sales roles. And now my teammates will introduce themselves. First, we'll start off with Tala.
Hi, everyone. My name is Tala, and I'm the talent acquisition lead for L'Oreal Middle East. And I've been with L'Oreal for almost 3 years and 10 months. So I'm looking forward to hosting along with Rebecca and to enjoy the session.
Welcome, Tala. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, guys. I'm also part of the HR team. I help to run everything digitally for HR, which also includes all their social media, such as L'Oreal Middle East on Instagram, their Facebook, Instagram, said that, and Twitter.
Thank you, Jamal. Thank you for joining us all. And thank you for the students who are present with us. So today's workshop we'll be talking about the CV writing, right? You will be giving us tips about CV writing. Okay, so you may start. Questions will be at the end.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Yes, and I'm just going to start off with a quick little presentation we prepared for the students. Just to let you guys know, today is a CV writing workshop. We're going to focus mostly on the work experience section of your CVs. After my presentation, we'll give the students some time to focus on that and open to questions as well as they're trying to make the edits. So I will start with the presentation now. One moment as I share my screen. Okay. All right, perfect. So, hello everyone, once again, my name is Rebecca Vghali. Now today, the agenda will be mostly focusing on the CV structure, the do and don't, and how to stand out. So for the structure, what you must have, you have to have your contact information and your personal statement. You should have your work experience that's relevant, your diploma or degrees, and your skills and your interests. So for the do's, you should tailor your CV to the job and the company you're applying to, so make it personal. So for every company you apply to, you should really take the time to research and understand what it is they're looking for and tailor your CV accordingly. If, of course, what's true is relevant, then you place it into your CV. And then also make sure you integrate keywords of the job post. Always check your spelling and grammar and make sure everything's aligned as far as font is concerned. Also, make sure to use bullet points, keep it short, punchy, precise, and relevant. You don't want to have a CV that's 3 pages long coming out as a fresh graduate. So make sure it's 1 page usually at most. Have a clear and quick read layout without too many special effects, and put your languages spoken as well. For the don'ts, don't cut and paste text that you can't later explain, that use high buzzwords and generalities. Anything that includes something that might be discriminating against you, such as age or status, marital status or gender. And don't make your CV more than 2 pages long, as I previously mentioned. 1 would be more, responsible to do at this point, since your experience, I'm sure, could be limited at this point in time. And then also don't use jargons, acronyms, or any technical terms. Now, for what you can do to really stand out, okay, you have to get the basics right. So your personal contact information, your education and qualifications, work history and competencies, your relevant skills to job in question, your own interests and hobbies. So that way really people can get to know you and you're more than just a paper. Okay, and then presentation is key. So make sure it's careful and clearly presented and concise. Upper middle area of first page is where recruiters' eyes usually fall. The length of your CV, okay? Also, it's really, again, another point is make sure it's not too lengthy. You want something precise and to the point. Understand the job description, okay? So the CV should really specify what that job is that you're applying for. So let's say you're going for a marketing role, really highlight maybe some projects you've currently done in school where you've done marketing, or if you're part of the Brandstorm competition, you can use that in there to really define how you've built up these skills. All right, and then making most of your experience, using assertive and positive language. For instance, using terms like developed, organized, achieved. These are all very important. As for the process, usually how it goes is you apply online, and then you're usually called for a phone interview. And then from there, if you are to be shortlisted, you can usually attend an assessment center or have a direct manager interview. Every company has a different process for these things. But yeah, this is the usual one, the generic. And just an extra tip for you guys, this is the STAR technique that you guys should keep in mind for interviews, which is situation, task, action, and results. So to start off with the situation, you have to give an example of the situation you were involved in that resulted in a positive outcome. And then you describe a task that was involved throughout that situation, and then an action, which talks about the various actions involved in the situation's task. And lastly, the results. So really what came out of all of this. And this was followed by your actions, what was accomplished, how did the event end, and what did they learn? So usually when answering interview questions, keep in mind the STAR technique because it's very helpful. It lets you touch each point and it shows that you've learned from the outcome and how the result really impacted you. And this is what hiring managers and recruiters are usually looking for. So now that I gave you guys a quick little overview of do's and don'ts, I can also share with you this presentation. I can send it to May afterwards and she can share it with the students here today. Now at this time, I'd like for all the students, if you have your current CV at hand with you, take it out and let's focus right now on the main point being your work experience for today. And then Tala and I will be here to answer any questions throughout. We'd like to give you guys around 20 minutes to go through your work experience section and try to fix it. And then from there, we can take any questions and help give you guys advice on what to do. Are there any questions though before moving into that part?
If any student has any question, you can either type it on the message or you can raise your hand so we can unmute you and you can answer your questions.
All right. So in the meantime, I just ask of the students, please to start working on their work experience section. And then once the 20 minutes is complete, so around 2:35 p.m., we'll return and take a look at the CVs. In the meantime, feel free to ask questions. I will be at present. Just either send a message in the chat to me or Tala and we'll be here. And then at the end, after you guys have had your 20 minutes to work on your work experience section, I'd ask for 2 different volunteers to share with us their screen and show us their CV, and we can help give you direct feedback and advice. Thank you.
Rebecca, just for you to know, we are also live on Facebook and YouTube.
Okay.
Yeah, so we'll also get questions from there if any. Yeah.
Perfect. We're more than happy to answer them as well. All right, so everyone, as you are working on your CVs, if you have any questions right now, feel free to ask at any moment and I will answer you. I just did receive a personal question in my chat box. You can do that too if you're more comfortable, but feel free to also ask openly here so everyone else can benefit too.
Rebecca, do you do you think we should answer the questions during this period, or you prefer to keep them for later on?
No, we can stay live that way if they have questions. I did receive one right now in the chat box. So if they want to ask questions as they're working on it, me and Tala are at present, so we'd like to help direct them or give them some sort of direction if they're feeling confused with how to make adjustments. Okay. So I think it's best to remain present unless you guys see fit otherwise.
No, yeah, that's great. Can we answer then, Angela? Did you receive Angela's answer?
Yes, so I received Angela's answer here.
She was asking about the criteria for applying for an internship or a job as a university student. Okay,
perfect. So Tala, if you want to tune in too, you can feel free to answer. So Angela's question is here, let me just reread it out loud, is what is the criteria for applying for an internship or a job as a university student? So, I mean, as far as criteria, we do understand that you're still currently in university enrolled, so maybe you haven't had proper work experience prior to this. So we're very open to that. We just are really looking for someone, I mean, for L'Oreal in specific, I can speak. We're looking for someone who's very passionate and has the entrepreneurial mindset and is willing to, put themselves out there in a very diverse and challenging role. So those are the qualities we are truly looking for. We understand that you can't really explain much as far as having a lot of work experience prior to that, but we'd like to see that, you at least, sorry, one moment here, that you at least put in a bit of, opportunity to discuss the languages you speak or your talents, and then highlighting as well, maybe some projects you've done in university, if you've worked directly with companies for projects, or if you've worked on some marketing project you thought you did really well on. So these are things you can highlight being an undergraduate. And yeah, I mean, it's really up to you in the end. It doesn't really fall short of that. So I hope I was able to clarify on Angela's question. Yeah. I see I received another one here from Natalie regarding her writing CV, which should be the maximum. Okay, so Natalie asked if for CVs, what the maximum page should be for having a CV. As I did mention, I think the more concise you are and to the point, the better. So 1 page is highly advised, maximum I'd say 2, especially being a fresh graduate. You don't want to have too much of your work experience written on there. So I would keep it minimal, 1 to 2 pages at most. Tala, do you have anything you'd like to add as well?
In terms of the pages, honestly, when you graduate, most likely it will be max a page and a half. Of course, if you had any activities that you want to add on, it's your chance to show what you've done in university and what extra initiatives you've done, or in terms of internships, what you've done. So even if it does exceed 1 page, it's not like a recruiter will stop reading at 1 page. So just use the space that you have. Of course, maximum it should be two pages. But just use that space to show a bit more of what you've done and the initiatives you've taken. So it's not a point for you to stress about.
And here I have someone who's asking if he doesn't have experience he was working in a totally different field. Can he apply for the internship? So he was working in hospitality as a room.
Yeah, so I mean, I'm going to give my first 2 cents into that, and then I'll let Tala add on as well. As far as internships are involved, and even our graduate trainee program here at L'Oreal, we're very flexible to accept people from different backgrounds, whether your major was something completely different and you're interested. we don't say no. It's not like we close the door. We definitely are very interested in people that are willing to challenge themselves. And here at L'Oreal, we have this learner mindset where we like people who are curious and always wanting to learn. And that means if you're coming from another background, you're willing to learn about a new department to get involved in or whatever. We like that curiosity. So it's definitely not something you're limited to. You just have to prove that you've done the research, you understand, you know, the job description, the job role, and it's something you're capable of working hard at and learning as you go by. So that's really the mindset we like to have here. So they're definitely not limited. I don't know if Tala, you want to add anything else to that, but yeah.
No, for sure. So don't let what previous industries you've worked on limit to what you want to apply to. So if you've done hospitality previously, at the end of the day, you can always add value to an organization with the previous work experience you've had. So no, for sure you should apply. At the end of the day, it's what you're passionate about and what you're curious about.
True. And I'm sure you will, I think you will talk about the keywords, the importance of the keywords in a CV, right? At a later stage. Because
yeah.
I'm facing a bit of, a few problems with the students. They don't know how to use the keywords correctly and where to use them. You know, which keyword should they use to highlight in their CV.
Yeah, so I mean, just to go on adding to that, it's very important for them again to keep in mind to keep it their own and make it themselves. So be creative. Don't think you're just limited to one specific way a CV should look. But there are many good examples of CVs that they can refer to and understand how these words are used properly and make it flow. So it doesn't look like they're trying a little too hard to get to flow and it doesn't make sense with their actual experience. In the PowerPoint that I did present earlier, it did have some of the key words that you should use throughout your CV as well. So I can also share that with you, May, and then you can let the students also have it, and then they can keep it at hand with them for the future. Whenever they're adjusting their CV or whatnot, they can always feel free to refer back to it.
Okay. So I think we have Natalie here. Natalie Habib, she has a question.
Yes.
Hi, Natalie.
Hi, Natalie.
How are you?
Please go on. Hello.
Okay, so I'd like to ask you guys regarding. Yes, can you hear me?
Yes.
All right. So I want to ask you regarding the CV. Let's say, so I've been working and studying throughout the period of my university timings. All right. And I have like multiple different fields I've worked in and all of that. So whenever I try to like put all of that in my CV, including like what I've done as like other projects and university and all of that, it accumulates like a really long CV. So whenever like I'm applying, I always get feedback like maybe it's too long or don't add your picture or don't do this. So how do we know what exactly we're supposed to do? Or is it according to the job category you're applying to?
Natalie, do you mind sharing your screen so I can have a look at it? Maybe it can also help others who are struggling to make it a bit more concise, and I can give you feedback that way. Or if you prefer, you can share it with me privately, and then I can help guide you.
I'd rather share it with you privately. Like, where do you want me to?
Okay.
Where do I send it to you?
I'll share my email on the chat box.
All right.
Also, Angela has. Would you like to take the other question from Angela? and then
Yes.
we get back to the Natalie's CV. Angela? Yes, Angela. Hi, Angela. Hello?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, so I just want to ask, is there an age criteria for applying to an internship or a job as a university student?
To answer your question, I mean, again, I think it may differ between company to company. But at L'Oreal, we've had internships for high school students up until college students as well. So, I mean, I would say high school students are the youngest we've had, but it's not really usually restricted. It just depends on the company's flexibility. So, yeah, I hope that answers your question.
Okay, great. And also one more question. If I don't have any work experience, what exactly do I write in the CV?
So as I mentioned previously, so it's not a problem at all. We understand that you're an undergraduate, so a lot of people haven't had the opportunity to actually work or do internships prior. So what I would highlight on are your interests, some activities. I would keep it short and concise, but also allowing yourself to show your character too, and being more than just a paper that a recruiter is going to look at. In addition to that, I would highlight some of your best accomplishments as far as projects are concerned in university. So if you've collaborated with a company before or worked on a specific project that you were very proud of and you did a good job, I would put it. So I would say how you established a proper marketing campaign or whatever it was that you developed or created. And then I would put it into points and then explain the course it was for. So instead of a company, I would like put it as a course and then what my presentation entailed. And that way they can see what you've done also as part of your education and how it kind of fits with what you're looking for too.
Okay.
This is why also volunteering, sorry for that, volunteering is very important during the first years of university because you can use them like in your CV.
Yeah.
Yeah, volunteer work is also very good to highlight. I remember when I was like a fresh graduate too, I had some internship experience and then also some volunteer experience. So I would include my volunteer work since it was kind of like a part-time job. So I would include it in there too. And also I put my projects. So whenever I worked, I was an undergraduate in marketing. And my university specifically would bring in companies and we'd have to do different marketing campaigns for them and whatnot. So I use those projects as my work experience as well.
Okay, sure. I'll do that then.
Perfect.
Thank
and if
you.
you also want to share your resume with us, if you're comfortable, you can share it here and then I can help you directly, like make edits, or you can just ask any additional questions. We're here.
Okay, thank you so much.
Yeah, you're welcome. May, if there are any other questions, let me know. I think Tala is working right now on Natalie's CV, and then she'll probably come back to us with feedback once that's done. But in the meantime, I'm also available for questions.
Abdurrahman, is there any questions? I don't think we have any more now, for now.
All right, perfect. So it's been almost 20 minutes, but we can give the students an additional 5 minutes if they feel it's needed. And then we can open the floor to more questions directly on their personal CVs, or if they have just generic questions that they've been wanting to understand for basic CV writing skills and expectations. So we're here to help with that too.
Yeah. And Rebecca, is it possible also to share with our students the process how to apply to L'Oréal as interns.
Okay, yeah. So unfortunately for this summer right now, we don't have an internship in line due to the current situation with the pandemic. But we are planning to have internships up and running again. It's something we are focused on bringing for 2021. But in the meantime, as far as usually how internships work, we're very flexible. We like to see the eagerness from the side of the student. So we like to see that they're motivated and as for L'Oréal, again, I really mentioned we're very keen on diversity and someone that's up for a challenge. Since in our role as an intern, you wouldn't just be doing, simple tasks. We actually put you involved. We hold you accountable. So you're usually focused on a project is how it works and the division that you are to be recruited for and in the role. But it is a very 360-degree role. So you're always interchanging between different divisions and different departments. So you're getting a lot of exposure as well. So we like someone that's able to handle that challenge and that flexibility and take on something new. That's as far as for internships, and usually they would also be posted on our careers page. In addition to that, for the students that are soon to be graduating, we also have our graduate trainee program, which is an internship, you could say more or less, but also it's a full-time role. We offer it in different departments such as sales, digital, marketing, finance, supply chain, and HR. It is not a rotational program, so you are specific to that department for 6 to 12 months. And then after completing your 12-month program, it can lead into a permanent role. We do have a 67% conversion rate here in our office of trainees that did move into permanent. So it's very promising as well. So there's different opportunities for the students in here, whether they're soon to be graduates or they're looking for internships. There's always something for them.
And this is through your website. If they want to apply, is it through the website?
Yes, so for the internships, if that is to open up in the coming next summer, that would be posted on our careers website. And then in addition to that, we can also exchange email addresses and then they can directly contact me too. But yeah, unfortunately, we were hoping to have it launched by this summer, our internship program. But due to the pandemic, it's not looking too likely that we'll be back in the offices soon. So
we hope tomorrow we can reach out to a solution for that. Yes. For our students, we are looking into virtual internships with L'Oréal. So we will keep you posted. For those especially who are registered in the internship course, this is especially for you. So we hope we can manage to find a solution for that.
Yeah. I hope so too. That's like the best way to get through it during this time since it can't be held physically. So definitely tomorrow, I think May will have a clear idea. They're having the meeting take place so we can see what's to come if it is also to be virtually for this summer.
Yeah, so stay tuned with us. For the news. I hope it will be good news.
I hope so too. Fingers crossed. All right, Tala, do you have any feedback as far as Natalie's CV for us that we can share with the rest of the students?
Okay, so I have a couple. I'll address some of the questions that I get asked frequently when it comes to CVs. A lot of people ask me, is it mandatory to have their picture, yes or no? At the end of the day, it's completely your preference. It's not a make it or break it. If you're not comfortable with putting your picture on your CV, there's no need at all. At the end of the day, your picture will not, let's say, get you the job or not get you the job or get you an interview. Another question I get a lot is about personal information. So when it comes to nationality, age, where they've lived, and all these details, again, it's not necessary to share on your CV, because what will get you an interview is your work experience. So this is what you should focus on the most. At the end of the day, your age, your nationality, your background, where you've lived, will not really have importance at all in terms of that first initial interview or any let's say part of the recruitment process. So again, it's not necessary for you to share. When you are sharing your CV with companies, what's the most important is for you to show the value you can add to their teams, or to the organization. So when it comes to writing your work experience, it's really important to share your achievements, what you've done, and how you've added value to that organization with your skills. I know a lot of us tend to put all the tasks and achievements that we've done. If you want to focus on your most recent work experience with so many details, I advise you to do so. But with your previous work experience, you can shorten it into 4 bullet points where you highlight what your main let's say tasks or responsibilities were, and then add a couple of points on what your achievements were. And then the main reason, again, is when there's the initial phone interview, you'll have the chance to go into more details of what you've done and what your responsibilities were. So your CV is just the first glance on your work experience, and you can go into more details during the interview process. One note I want to highlight also is when you're writing your previous work experience, just make sure the bullet points that you're writing are in past tense. It's a very small detail, but when you're speaking about, let's say, hosting or leading or managing, make sure it's always in past tense. It's just a small tip that I can give you. And it's really, really important to make sure that any skills that you have, again, we tend to list them all on one line, which increases the space. So you can do a lot with the spacing and the font to shorten your CV. So really make use of all the space you can on the page. You have the option on Word to put 2 columns. So if you want to put your technical skills and your language skills, you're able to do that to shorten the length of the CV. And again, when it comes to events or personal activities that you've done, make sure that you give a bit more information on what you've learned. So if you've, let's say, participated or volunteered, how did that impact your personal development? It's really important because recruiters will tend to ask you, okay, so I've seen you've done this volunteering event. What did it really teach you? So if you give the recruiters the information that they're looking for and what personal skills you've developed during those events, it's extremely important. But again, I cannot emphasize enough on using and utilizing all the space on the page, making sure the font is not too big, so you can make the font even 10 and it will still look fine on the screen. We can just zoom in a bit. So I think that is really important.
Thank you, Tala, for this valuable information. We have Sako here who would like to ask a question. Mm-hmm. Sako?
Hello.
Hello, Sako. How are you?
I'm good. How about you?
I'm fine, thank you. Sako, I was helping him to amend his CV. So, and I think you have a question about it. Please.
Yeah, I was just asking you privately that is there any opportunity? Like, I didn't understand exactly what do you mean by virtual internship, because I'm obliged to take my internship this summer from the university. So I'm searching hard for it. I need a good opportunity for it. So I don't want to take an internship that I will not get anything added value for me.
Sako, we are still, we will discuss this with L'Oreal tomorrow in a meeting. So we still don't have a clear picture about how would the virtual internship be, but this discussion will be with the professors. So I'm sure if we come up with a solution, it will be a valuable solution for the students and you will be benefiting from it.
Okay, thank you. Can you please kindly send us an email of what happens tomorrow?
No, tomorrow it's only for us, like the management and the professors. But once we get a solution, we will let you know.
Okay, thank you so much for it.
Welcome, Sako. Okay.
All right. Are there any other questions or doubts or hesitancies with any of you and your CV editing?
So now, Rebecca, after this, we will try to do like something practical, right? We will try to show them a practical way of doing the CV. What's gonna come like in the
So for
coming?
today's format, since we are doing it in an hour, we were going to just do the brief intro, and then we would like to give the time to have the students to edit their CVs. And then we were hoping that 1 to 2 of the students would be liking to share their CV, and then we can give open feedback that could benefit everyone as a whole. Since this is done virtually, it is a bit different. So we were hoping that could be done, and then we just wanted to open the floor to any more questions, since now it's their chance to directly speak to HR and recruiters to really understand what they can do to really benefit themselves.
Okay, so we have Faraz who would like to share his CV and receive a feedback.
Perfect. All righty, then Tala and I are anxiously waiting.
Okay, let's go. And before that, there is a question for Natalie. Natalie?
Yes.
Please go ahead.
No, I don't have a question. I'm done.
You're done? Ah, okay. That's it. So,
Yes, thank you guys.
welcome. Okay, Faraz, would you like to share your CV, your screen with us?
Yeah, I'm okay sharing the screen.
Hi, Faraz.
Yeah. Are you getting the screen? Oh, I don't think so. Yeah. Okay. So my question is basically, I'm from Pakistan and I would like to apply for an internship in L'Oreal. So is it possible?
So yes, to answer your question, of course, it is possible for you to apply for an internship. As May did discuss, tomorrow there is a meeting with the professors to see if it's a possibility to go into a virtual internship for this summer, since most probably, like physically, this won't be a possibility. So they are looking at different ways we can fix this issue and allow for you guys to still get your internship. And given your background, of course, you are more than welcome to join the L'Oreal team for internships.
Yeah, actually, my background is I'm doing my BBA in marketing, and I have done a digital marketing course, and I'm doing my internship in that. So I would like to virtually apply for L'Oreal in digital marketing specific. So
Okay, perfect.
If that's possible, I'm looking forward to it.
Amazing. So yeah, May will definitely get back to you guys if there is something to be worked out. So if a virtual internship is a possibility for this summer, then definitely. And here at L'Oreal, we do have digital and marketing. So I think it'll be perfect for you if you're interested in both of those aspects.
Thank you.
Yeah, of course.
Class, do you have any questions regarding your CV? Would you like us to check your CV or?
I would like to check my CV, and I have a background. I was doing ACC previously, and I jumped to BBA because I need to take a break and I need to pursue the degree thing. So I like to confirm, should I put the ACC in my CV or should I put only the BBA for the other jobs and future values? Thank you. Did you get? Okay.
So just to be clear here, you're asking if you should put both in your resume?
Yeah.
I would say, for me, I think it's fine to put both. I don't know if Tala has another recommendation, but I think at this point in time, yes, you can definitely speak on behalf of both. And then later in time, when you have more experience accumulated, you can just focus on the last bit. That would be my advice to you. I don't know if Tala, you have anything you'd like to add for that.
No, exactly, aligned.
Okay, great. Thank you. That's all.
All right. That's all? Okay.
Also, if anyone has any other question, not only about their experience part of their CV, about the skills, anything that comes to mind, volunteering, please let us know. We're here to answer any question that you may have. So feel free.
Julia have a question. She has a question. The CV format should be PDF or in PDF or in Word?
PDF.
PDF is always way preferred because it just keeps everything the same way you created it aligned. And sometimes on Word, it can rechange your format and then it just looks like a disaster at times. PDF is always the safest route, I would say as well.
For sure.
And Muhammad also wants to tune in. Hello, Muhammad.
Hi, I don't know if you guys can hear me and see me.
Yes, we can.
Great. So I'm a very old student in CUD. I have one concern about internship. It's the only course that's left for me. I had to do my internship last summer because I was seeking an opportunity and I have full-time work. So I got the chance and I did my internship, but it wasn't registered for me and I didn't have the booklet. So does that count or I have to redo my internship again?
This you have to discuss it with your professor. If he approves it, it's counted. If not, you'll have to do it again. So you have to discuss it with your internship advisor.
All right. Okay, perfect.
I hope he approves it, but if
I
not,
hope so.
you have to come back to us again.
All right, thank you so much. I hope I don't have to do it again because I'm really busy with my full time. Like now, no one is busy anymore, but yeah, let's hope I don't redo it again.
Good luck.
Thank you so much.
All right, and then if anyone else has additional questions related to your CV, and just another tip I would like to say, since again, most of you are fresh and, you know, being an undergraduate student still, I would recommend too, if you guys have done any Excel courses or like digital workshops or anything like that, that you have a certificate on, you can also add that in your resume.
Muhammad has shared his CV with us. I don't know if Kantala maybe, I didn't understand from Muhammad if he wants us to share it, I mean, on the screen or no, to give him an update. It was Faraz, sorry, Faraz, not Muhammad, Faraz. Yeah, he wants to share it on the screen. So I'll share it.
Amazing.
One second, please. I don't think I'm able, 1 second. I'm not able to share it. 1 second, maybe now. Sorry for that.
No worries at all.
No worries.
Okay, so let's see now. Can you see it?
Yes.
Can you see the CV?
Yes, I can.
Okay.
Amazing. Faraz, I don't know if you can make it a bit bigger, just to zoom in a bit.
No, it's me actually.
Oh, okay.
May is controlling the CV.
Amazing. Okay.
That's it?
Perfect. Yeah. So if you can just go to the top. Again, for us, there's a lot of wasted space on the top that you can make a bit more concise. So in terms of address, it's not necessary for you to put your address. If you want to put the city, then that's fine. But again, full address is not necessary for you to put on your CV. In my opinion, again, it's completely up to you, but that way you can shift a bit more of the information up. In objective, I would be a bit more, let's say, show a bit more of your personality, try to put what you're interested in, make it a bit more personal so that the recruiter can understand a bit more of your interests. Again, when recruiters see a CV, it's the first image they have of you. So you need to make sure that you're trying to give a 360 view about of yourself.
Yes.
And then when it comes to work experience, so if you can, sorry, May, if you can, yeah, perfect. If you can put a bit more details about your work experience, what you've achieved, your main tasks, or if it's a specific project that you've worked on, just go into a bit more details so the recruiter can understand what your role was in that organization. And of course, mention your achievements, what you've done, and so on. It's important for us to see what value you can add within the organization. If you're even jumping industries, and for instance, you're applying to a completely different industry, you can always use your objective to state why you're shifting industries. So if you're working, let's say, I'm just going to use another example. If you're working in let's say IT, in the IT industry, and you want to jump into, sorry, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yes. If you're jumping to a different industry, that's where you can use your objective section to put more details on why you're interested in moving industries.
Okay.
And then when it comes to professional and academic education, I would put your most recent. So I would do it kind of the opposite. So you're currently enrolled in ACCA, that's fine. But right after that, I would put that you got a Bachelor in Commerce in University of Karachi Part 2, and then put it in that order. So the most recent on the top, and then go down.
Okay.
For co-curricular activities, works voluntarily as a social worker. It's a very important part that you've added into your co-curricular activities, but give more emphasis on what you've learned and what you've gained in terms of personal development doing that.
I got it.
And then when it comes, sorry?
Yeah, I'm getting it. Continue.
Amazing. And then when it comes to professional skills, it's a great section to add. What advice I can give you is always be prepared that a recruiter will ask you about your professional skills. So for instance, if you've written ability to work well under pressure, the recruiter will usually come back and ask you, okay, can you give me an example? And that's where Rebecca's STAR method comes into play. So once you're phone interviewing someone, it's very important to have a very structured answer on how on a specific example of where you've worked well under pressure.
Okay.
And May, I don't know if you can scroll to the second part, or if it's,
that's it actually. There is
okay. Amazing.
TV.
So for us, for sure, I would add more information. You have room to do so. So it's really important for you to showcase what you've done in your work experience. And again, for your co-curricular activities.
Sure.
Is there any question that you have that you're unclear of, or?
Yeah, basically, in the work experience, I have worked in customer service industry, basically. So now I'm shifting to basically digital marketing. So should I put that in the objective that I'm shifting from the customer service to the marketing and that thing?
Exactly, and put both work experience. At the end of the day, it's really important for you to show each and every role that you've done. Again, once you specialize later in your career, for instance, if you've done customer service and now you're doing a bit of digital, it's important for you to show both work experience, because at the end of the day, it correlates to what you are today and what experience you can bring to the next company or next, let's say, career opportunity that you want to go to. And then once you specialize in the topic that you want to continue your career on, that's when you can start removing your previous work experience that was not very relative. But again, at the early stages of our career, it's really important to show each and every role that we've done, because it gives a 360 overview about ourselves. I don't know, Rebecca, if there's anything you wanted to add.
So you pretty much summed it all up, but just in addition to that, I would only recommend, like, as you mentioned in the beginning, like where you put his address and everything, another method you can use is having them all aligned at the top in one formation. So that saves you even more space for more relevant information at the bottom. So you can put like email address, city, location, so they have an idea where you're at, and then also your phone number, best contact number to reach you on. And then also with Tala, I think for all of you, it's very important when you are putting your work experience, make sure it's relevant to the year. So start always from the most recent to the latest. So then that way, when the recruiter is looking through it, they can understand the timeline. So make sure they're all aligned.
Great.
And that's pretty much it. Yeah. But other than that, looks good. And I think, Tala, you made some very good points.
Okay, we have another person who wants to share, Sako wants to share his CV as well. One
thing.
Okay, so here we go. This is Sako's CV. Can you see it?
Yes, I can.
Okay.
So Sako, again, on the top, there's a lot of space that you can make use of. As Rebecca said, there's a way that you can put all your personal information on the top in one line that will allow the other information to shift up.
Hello?
Yes. Sorry, I'm just reading it so I can
yeah.
Okay. Always make sure also that when you're putting your career history, it's really important to put the years. So January, was it 2018 or 2019 or 2020? It's really important for you to put that information in exact dates, because it allows the recruiter to understand the path that you are taking and at which stages of your career. So that is really important. In terms of, let's say, how it's viewed, it's always easier to put, let's say, the company that you are working for and then the date on the right. And then that will allow also for other information to be shifted. And again, when it comes to your previous work experience, for instance, you mentioned negotiating all contracts with prospective clients. So you can put negotiated, prepared monthly reports, and you can even add one more bullet point on, let's say, the achievements that you've done. So I know that on the top you've meted or exceeded your sales goals. So you can put that in more emphasis at the bottom on your key achievements or your key, let's say, value points of what you've added to that specific role. And then it's important. May, sorry, can you just scroll up? I want to see if I've missed something on the top. Yes, so education is important for you to also put onto your CV. So even if you're still completing your degree, it's important for you to mention the university and amazing. Okay, sorry.
Just to add to that too, real quickly, Tada, sorry. For the education part, just to make it a bit more, you know, visual, I would recommend also looking at some CV examples of where you can see the university name, and then you can put, for instance, let's say you started 2016, you would put the year 2016 to present, so they know that you're still currently enrolled, and then you can put the degree that you're receiving as well. That way to give them an idea. I know that you said fresh graduated, so you can put the end date as well, so they can understand that. And then another note I would just like to add too, as far as for like when you're writing your work experience and explaining it in bullet points, I'd recommend also to use very assertive and positive language. So terms like developed, organized, achieved, these are really good coherent ways to get your message across, instead of saying like, I did this, so organized over, and giving numbers of examples of what you've done, or like KPIs you've reached, things like that. That will really help as well.
Perfect. And again, any additional information, for instance, in that section, it's very important to make sure that any language that you speak is mentioned correctly. So for instance, we get a lot of CVs where it mentions that candidates are fluent in a specific language, and that might have been one of our let's say criteria. It's important to make sure that you only apply to jobs that match your profile. And in terms of hobbies and interests, honestly, as a graduate, it's important for you to put what you're interested in. It shows a bit more of your personality. So that's one aspect of the CV that I find very, very important. Also, if anyone's been on a sports team throughout university, or you participated in any competitions, it's also important for you to show on your CV. It shows how you are proactive. And one last point I think I have to say is just make sure that when you're typing your CV, to make sure all the bullet points are aligned. So I don't know if you can see here, if we scroll down just a bit, the part about hobbies and interests, just make sure that it's all aligned. It's easy for recruiters to see everything aligned when they're skimming through different CVs. So just to make it look all aligned. And I think, yes, I think I've addressed. And then again, just making sure it's all the same font, all the same size, so it's visually appealing and easy to read. I don't know if Sako has any questions.
No, thank you. It's all clear for me now.
Amazing.
Perfect. And then Sako, just one last note too. For when you're putting like languages, like if you want to put like Armenian per se, you can say like fluent in Armenian. And then if, for instance, in English, you're proficient, you can use terms like that too, instead of having to explain, I speak very little. So less words and more direct words that can explain like proficient, beginner level, or fluent. You know, that's just something I recommend for everyone if you're putting languages on there.
Noted. Thank you.
You're welcome.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much. Any other CVs that you would like to share with us? Any other questions? Tala, we're not. Okay. 1 second. There is nothing till now. Would you like to add anything, ladies?
I mean, I would just like to say, I hope that in general, with the 2 CVs that we've reviewed, this can give everyone some basic tips of adjustments they can make, whether we saw their CV or not. So just making sure, because these are all, you know, as Tala said, it's the first way into a company. So before you can get that phone screening, your CV is really your way in. So make sure that it's something you focus a lot on and you put the time and effort into making sure it's all aligned. You're using the same font, because this is also a way a company sees if you pay attention to detail. So if you have on your CV detail oriented or focused on details, and then they notice that your bullet points are not aligned or you have different fonts and things like that, then that can easily change that meaning behind it. So I would just say make sure you double check on all of those things, and I think that's really how you well explain yourself, especially when there's not enough work experience. That won't be an issue. Just really focus on your volunteer work, the projects you've done, or any internships you've previously done. That's about it from my end. I don't know, Tala, do you want to add anything else?
Yes, just one point. So Rebecca mentioned during her presentation that it's great to alter your CV to the job application or the job description that you're applying for. Usually when you apply for roles, the job description is available online, so it's easy for you to see what the company is looking for exactly. So if you've done something similar, it's nice to use the same terminology if you've done it, just to make sure that you're showing that you can add value to that specific role. And one other point that I had is during the let's say personal statement or objectives, sometimes candidates forget to change when they apply to companies. So for instance, they write a personal statement that I'm interested in L'Oreal because of this. So it's very important to make sure that you alter it per job position, because sometimes it's forgotten, and then people end up applying to the role. For instance, they have L'Oreal on it, but they've applied to 6 other companies with L'Oreal mentioned in their personal statement. So it's very, very important for you to make sure that you're putting a lot of attention to detail when it comes to applying online to specific roles.
Any advice you can give them if they don't know the position yet? They're just applying to the company, but they don't know the vacancies that are available or anything in general. So what is the best tip in that case?
If they've just submitted, let's say, their CV to a recruiter.
Yes.
It's okay. So one point that I always like to give candidates, even when we're on career fairs or when we're on campus and we're meeting with students, if you've applied or if you're interested in a specific company, it's good for you to research a bit more about, let's say, their brands and why you would personally want to work there. That way, when the recruiter calls you, again, you're not aware of the role, but you have an interest for the company. And you can always ask this question. It's not taken negatively if you ask, what position are we speaking specifically about? Or it's always, let's say, fine for you to ask these questions, especially that you're not aware of the role that the recruiter is calling you for. But if you're actively applying online to different roles, make sure you do keep note of what role you've applied for, even if it's on your notes on your phone. For instance, you've applied for L'Oreal graduate program in marketing, let's say. It's important for you to remember that you applied for that role, because sometimes if you're applying to several companies, it's easy to lose track and you forget what specific role. So just to keep note of them would be a tip I can give.
Thank you so much. Any other questions? No, I don't think we have any other questions. Yeah. So I think that's it for today.
Amazing.
Well, thank you so much, May, for coordinating this. And it was nice to meet all the students in the chat today. I hope you guys benefited a little bit from this workshop. And if you guys have any additional questions, feel free to reach out. And also I'll be sharing with May the presentation, so you guys can keep it at hand too for future reference.
Thank you so much, really. We were very happy to have you here with us. And we hope that we could do more workshops even later on whenever you are also available. Thank you so much.
Yes,
Sure,
definitely.
anytime. Thank you so much, May.
Thank you.
Take care.
Care,
Bye.
everyone. Stay safe.
Bye, Rebecca.
Bye. Bye.
Bye-bye.